random f-stop of the day, 4.1.
What an aperture.
That's an interesting
I don't even know what that
aperture.
one said at. It's just what I like the exposure.
Have you had your breakfast today?
I don't eat breakfast.
You're not a breakfast guy. You're an intermittent faster.
I love breakfast food,
Oh, I love breakfast food.
but I just don't wake up hungry.
Favorite
And my gut
breakfast
is
food?
trained to not get food that early, so when I do, it's
What time are you ready to eat?
noon.
Hey, shut up. You've not been introduced yet.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize you even started.
Well, now that he's let the cat out of the bag, we have our first returning guest. Some idiot,
you guys started rolling. Oh, we're rolling? Okay.
some idiot has agreed to not only come on,
First, be a
it's me.
guest for the first time. Guest/victim.
but signed up for it twice. Is like, hey, I'll come back.
That's me.
Welcome
Yeah. I'm the idiot
Justice.
right here.
Justice the idiot.
from Not Just Media. Our willing repeat. I'm proud of you. Terrified for you, but proud of you too.
Yeah. Man, sorry. Do you guys want to redo your cold opening? I'm sorry I barged in.
No, I think we leave it because I think it's funny.
I didn't mean to
No,
barge into
we're,
it.
we're good with the barging. Speaking of
We're just gonna
barging
roll it
in,
live.
speaking of barging in, I want to recount an event. We
Oh,
barged
man.
into a Waffle House.
We sure did.
Dude.
We touched on it a few weeks ago in an episode. I mean,
Yeah.
touched on.
There's a lot more there.
Oh, man.
And
That's an
where do you
episode all in
start?
itself.
Where do you start? So, first off, a lot of people are going to have a different perspective. Touching on a couple weeks ago, perspective of Waffle House.
Sir, please don't put my camera again.
A lot of people only think Waffle House exists
Earthquake.
for the 3 a.m. crowd.
And they'd be wrong. I mean, they're right in some cases.
Yeah, it's open. That sucker's open 24/7. Thank the Lord.
Yes, thank the Lord.
But we went in for supper. Some of y'all might refer to that as dinner.
It's supper.
We're in Nashville. Tons of eats available, and we choose Waffle House.
Why not?
So we waltz in to this Waffle House, and our waitress, T.
T.
Y'all remember T?
Old T.
Old T was
She tired that
running
night.
on E.
She was tired that night.
Flat out running on E, and we could tell. She's taking her order, and we can tell. She's in the dumps. She's on E. I don't know if she's towards the end of her shift.
She was.
She's not got it. There's
No.
nothing left in the tank.
No.
But I think by the end of that night, I'd like to think we at least lifted her spirits a smidgen.
We were a little
Maybe
bit of a
refilled the
light.
tank a smidge.
We tried to be light. And I can say that Stoke levels, eggs, bacon, and waffles were all raised in that night.
How many things can you? Okay, so let's start with the staff. Start with the staff.
As celebrity staff, by the way.
Well, we walk in and it's just T,
5-star lineup.
Yes.
T and Dylan.
T and
That's
Dylan.
it. Manning the ship. Yeah, two folk. That's it.
Dylan was heavy on the controls. He was running that grill like no other.
Yes, he was.
Eggs, cheesy, bacon, crispy, hash browns, smothered, chunked in country, which is gravy for all you secret menu lovers.
You got to get Dylan on this podcast.
Dylan would be awesome because his culinary skills,
And cooking.
cooking it up.
This table could be a griddle.
Oh
Cooking it
my
up.
gosh.
Oh, you just wait.
You should have saw him slapping the waffle irons down, and let's not even talk about the hash browns he was whipping up over there on the flat iron.
Perfection. Perfection.
So Dylan, great
Hibachi.
chef, great personality.
Yes.
T was great. Then in walks Derrick, I believe.
Diamond Derrick.
Right? Derrick was his name?
Diamond
He had
$2 million
something-
Derrick.
Yeah, he had something on his uniform that caught your eye.
Oh, it wasn't just something on his uniform. It was the uniform. So most Waffle House employees have your typical Waffle House button-up. His looked more like a Letterman's varsity jacket, I guess would
Daggone.
be my best comparison. He came in, and the phrasing on that was something to the tune of $2 million club, or $1 million club.
Yeah.
It was $1 million club, to which we called. We said, man, is that a real thing? Oh, yeah. And he said, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
I'm in the $2 million club. Those millions.
Knocking on the door of 3, he said.
Knocking on the door of $3 million in Waffle House sales. Mr. Diamond Derrick. Derrick Dimes. That could be a WWE name.
So that's the staff.
Great wrestling intro. I think Dylan, going back to the chef.
Oof.
I think Dylan, this is a hot take, and I'm willing to die on this hill. I believe he trained Gordon Ramsay.
Gosh.
Did you see the eggs?
I did see the eggs, and I've watched plenty of Gordon Ramsay scrambled egg tutorials because
have
I
to.
love doing a soft scramble.
I have to.
I think Dylan trained him.
Gordon is who taught me that I've evidently been overcooking eggs my whole life.
Most people do.
Dang.
Soft scramble it is.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, the
a flat iron
fluffiness.
steak.
So that's just the staff. Let's rein it back into us, the
Yes.
collective, the four musketeers.
We were just setting the stage.
Stoke levels in the whole restaurant were pretty low,
Yes.
very low indeed. We walk in there. I don't know why we were on a high, but we were on a high, and we wanted everyone else to.
We were fresh off a strong bomb.
That's true. We just wrapped up a good day of production. Finally agreed to go eat.
And lest I remind you,
oh my gosh,
it was somebody's birthday that weekend.
Here we go.
Yeah, that guy at Texas Roadhouse,
Longhorn.
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Yeah,
It
that was the
his-
next
it was
night.
his
That was the next
birthday.
night, but it was his birthday.
We started it off though with the discovery of a jukebox.
There was a jukebox.
Man, why does Waffle House hand you every single part of your meal on a different plate?
That's
Because they're very cleanly. Duh.
when you get 4 people.
I disagree.
Probably one of the cleanliest eating establishments.
We were 4 people in a little booth.
Four
and
people, and when 4 people get an all-star, which you
How
should.
many plates is that?
That's 4 because you have the eggs and hash browns go on one, toast goes on another, bacon comes on another, and then your waffle comes on number 4. So it's 4 plates.
Yeah. And how about you reaching around, putting your extra plate back on the kitchen shelf to store it?
The one that's above the
We
trash
literally
can.
had no space. There was no room in the inn.
Well, we're a 4-person crew in a 3-person booth,
There was a plate on top of the napkin holder.
Yes.
Yeah.
and that was mine.
Yeah.
I know my way around a Waffle House.
Someone discovers a jukebox though.
Yeah.
And
The
lo and
birthday girl.
behold, it is the jukebox that it's one of those that can be controlled via an application on your cell phone.
Via Bluetooth.
So
How many credits did you buy right off the bat?
Listen, again, my
Like, have
my,
you told Sarah how much money you
I didn't
spent
have to tell
on
her.
music?
She asked me about it. She said, "What is this random
What is this
Waffle House
$40
charge?"
for?
I said, "Babe, there was a jukebox there." She said, "Oh no."
Yeah.
I think in walks this rowboat. I don't know if that's what they are.
Yeah.
They were a
It
rowing
was a private
team.
school,
Was
and
it
they were
rowing?
They were rowing.
They were rowing.
I know you
Rowers.
can't tell that based on the
physiques.
physical builds.
They row boats.
They're rowers in training.
Competitive
Okay.
rowers.
Okay. You know, that's fine.
Not all Vikings were born as Vikings.
I love that.
I mean, they're born as Vikings, but physically.
Yeah, right.
Takes a little bit of time.
So we're average age just went down exponentially.
Yeah, because they were all like 12.
So with the next credit, we collectively agreed to get the party started.
Yes, with none other than.
We were in the USA. I'm giving the listeners a ton of hints here.
Yeah.
It was a party,
Yep.
North America, USA specifically.
Miley Cyrus.
Goddaughter of Dolly Parton, the Queen of Tennessee.
I thought you were going to say Billy Ray.
No, goddaughter.
Oh,
Dolly is her godmother.
yeah. Party in the USA. I really think we got to roll the clip. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if that makes it into the final edit. If not, follow us on social media because it's going to hit the airwaves. We had the entire
Restaurant.
restaurant.
They were singing.
Derrick is bumping it on his way to and from the back room. Dylan is slapping those hash browns down, also in it. And Tay literally finds her Tay
Tea.
T was somewhere finding Bradley some sea milk
some sea milk, also
sea milk.
known as chocolate milk.
because
But
Bradley
she
is
said,
3 years old.
sea milk.
Yeah. T. Once T woke up, she was
good.
in it.
Yeah. I think we
bonded.
inadvertently given her second wind. But yeah, Derrick, if you guys remember, like we asked him as softly as we could because he's busy. We're like, hey man, do you mind going and turn? I got you. He goes back to the back room, back to the office. I got you guys, and he's bumping it. He's turning the jukebox up because we couldn't hear it. And I'm like, Derrick, I paid for these credits. Like,
Yeah.
help me out here. And he's like, I got you guys.
got it.
I'm not $2 million Dimey Derrick for nothing.
It's true.
So I think Waffle House had a profound impact on us that night, so much to the sense that one of your most recent YouTube videos, you did a comparison between the iPhone and the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Cinema camera
With a certain subject.
with a waffle.
Ooh,
Is that is that subliminal? Was that a
must have been
subliminal thing?
I didn't even realize that. I did that.
I'm glad we could help you realize that.
I'm glad that we could help you, and just to further solidify that it had an impact, I got a surprise for you.
Oh my god!
I brought a surprise today.
You know that was my second. That was probably my second Waffle House experience, and
Well-
that's what it was like.
That's because you're from Michigan,
Just want to let you guys know that.
and Michigan's pure.
I got a
Waffle
surprise
House
for
is
you.
not.
Guys, hang tight. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh! What is?
I have no idea what he's fixing to do right now. I really don't.
Going on.
I have no clue. Garrett has
He's
left the
leaving-
building.
leaving the room.
He's bringing in something, and I have no clue. Oh. This is in no camera view. Okay,
What?
especially for those audio only guys and girls.
I bring gifts.
It's my,
He literally has a waffle iron,
There's a waffle iron.
a well-used waffle iron, I might
Oh,
add,
that was passed down from my
That looks
father-in-law.
straight from Waffle House.
From my father-in-law.
and some waffle batter, some waffle mix.
How did this get into
So, Justice,
Waffle House?
I saw your waffle making abilities
Yeah,
in that YouTube video,
through two screens.
and I want you to do it here live.
Well,
On
He
the-
didn't make it though. His wife did.
Well, you captured it. It was a collective waffle making effort. I have a gift. I know it had an impression on you.
I'm gonna make a mess.
We have a waffle. I've done the hard work for you. I mixed the batter.
Yeah.
Once that puppy heats up,
Yeah.
you just pour it in there.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit of talking. A waffle will emerge here on the podcast. I think this is the first waffle that we've ever had on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh man.
We might get canceled after this.
I don't know. I think it now falls into the educational how-to section.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
I'm at a loss.
With that loss, we're going to take a moment after the break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some things. Talk about the future, scary thing, growth, and what we want to be doing in the future. But until then,
Let's thank our sponsors today.
ooh,
Sponsors of today's episode 6 of Faith in Frames.
Waffle House.
No.
Dang.
That would be a cool sponsorship. None other than Motion Creative Media. Us. Jared and Garrett. Here at Motion Creative Media, we want to inspire a love for active living through photo and video that moves your business forward. Thanks Motion Creative Media for sponsoring today's episode. Guys, reach out with any inquiries, business needs, questions, concerns. We would love to help you out here at Motion Creative Media. Thank you, Jared.
Do you want your camera back on you?
Once you're done with the waffle tutorial, sure. So
Even
let's go
for the
ahead.
ad placement?
So let's go ahead and open that iron up, Justice, really quickly, and then
Yeah,
we're going to
sure.
talk about a serious subject. But while we're talking about the serious subject, we're going to have you. Yep, nice. Oh yeah, pour that batter in there. Be easy. Be easy.
Murray
Nice. Not
replied-
too much, or it'll spill over. That's good, right there.
No, it's
Maybe
not
just a little more.
enough. I
Maybe
think
just
it
a little
needs
more.
more.
I mean, it's going to spread. It's going to spread. Ooh,
That's
right
good.
there. That's good.
That's the money.
Close that puppy. It's okay. We have wipes.
Lick
I
it.
have 3 kids.
Lick it. Lick it.
Oh yeah, look at that. Nice.
I think we had more room.
Jared, let's get in the meat and potatoes. What are we talking about today?
This is stressing me out. There's a waffle. There's a waffle cooking.
Listen,
in
I
front of
think
us.
there's a phrase, and I'm going to butcher it because I'm trying to do it off the dome, but it's something to do with diamonds and pressure and stress. You just mentioned you're stressed out, so like that's what prompted this. Diamonds are created under
Under immense pressure.
yeah. So you're stressed right now,
Dang.
About to make a
and I
diamond.
just want you to know like it's not going to be for naught.
Dang.
Is it a $2 million diamond Derrick waffle? We'll see.
We're
We'll see.
licking. We are.
I doubt
licking.
it, but hey, you never know. We might be pleasantly surprised.
Dang.
We are licking.
Does
She's
it have a-
rising.
Does it have a timer?
It used
light,
to.
Or okay.
So what's our subject today, Jared?
So we mentioned it before. We're going to talk about growth and specifically what we would like to be doing within our businesses and as people and creatives 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. You might want to put your camera back on you, though, unless you're waiting on this big reveal.
Waffle. Pull that waffle. Just easy, though. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, that's
Look at that steam. Oh, my gosh.
perfect.
Wow.
I can honestly say I'm surprised. I did not expect that.
A whole waffle maker.
The only prerequisite to what just happened that we got was I need 5 minutes of prep. Just roll with it.
So growth and where we would like to be in the future.
Yeah. So I think starting out, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. Starting out, you do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You're kind of forced to do a little bit of everything. Even if it doesn't matter what business you're starting or doing, you're going to wear a lot of hats.
Right.
Because financially, it's just not feasible to make the hires that allow you to delegate.
Well, and you're just trying to build.
You're just trying to build. Yeah. And I do think it's important for you to kind of have a feel and idea for everything within your business.
Yes.
Whether or not that's your strong suit or not is irrelevant once you get to that point. But I think having an idea for it or of it gives you that perspective.
Certainly important. Certainly important.
So you kind of touched on it a few episodes ago, but we'll start with you, Justus. What, as you're eating your waffle, what would you ultimately like to see from your business, from you as a creative? What do you ultimately want to be doing within your business?
Oof.
That's a tough one.
What do you desire the most?
Deepest desire. I don't know. It seems like it changes day by day, and I think that's going to be as I grow. And not just growth, because we keep talking about growth, but as years go by and experience happens,
Seasons change.
and seasons change, life changes. I'm expecting a daughter in March.
Congrats again.
Thank you again.
It's awesome.
But that's going to, I'm sure, inspire
A new
brand
perspective.
new perspectives from me.
You're going to look at the world through different
So
sets
right
of
now-
eyes.
Episode 4, Perspectives.
Man,
A couple weeks back.
right now I can, everything I kind of talked about in a few episodes ago was creative thinking and serving clients in a way that helps them find out of the box solutions.
Right.
So right now in this season, that's where I want to grow to, doing that better, doing that more. But like I said, I mean, seasons change. I mean, you guys are dads. What's your perspective on how your mindset has shifted and grown through your dadhood and then into business ownership?
So, I don't know. So, it literally changes overnight. So many things change overnight once you become a dad, or at least it did for me.
For sure.
I think as men, I think primarily we feel more of a burden, a desire to provide, and
Right.
that word means so many different things.
Right.
Not only financially, but as biblically the leader of the house. So many different things. It falls under that providing umbrella, and so that immediately changes overnight. You also, or at least me, it also forced me to immediately start thinking about tomorrow, about next year, because I now have another life that
Lives.
I'm responsible for.
Right.
So that happened when I got married, but it doubly happened once I had my first kid.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it makes you start to think more long term, as
Generational.
opposed to today.
Yeah.
Although the today is how you get to then.
It's important.
Your actions
It's important.
today affect your tomorrow for sure. But you start thinking with a different mindset. And so, but just on the business side, I guess
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're talking about today. Didn't mean to take that rabbit trail.
You about started crying.
No, I'm just a little parched. But yeah, as a business, so what I like to do is I really enjoy client relations. I like the conversing. I even enjoy the conversations, the emails,
Right.
the things that a lot of people would consider boring. I actually enjoy nurturing those relationships because, again, we talked about it. I want to be seen as a partner.
Right.
And I want to always be in touch and communicating with the client. Now, that can be as simple as just a quick little update as to where we're at on your deliverables.
Right.
Something that lets people be in the know. We talked about it on another episode, and now we've got to backtrack because Southern Craft is open.
Praise the Lord.
and booming. Every time I go by there, it's packed, which is great. I hope that trend continues. But we
Me
talked
too. I want them to stay long term.
well, we talked about the fact that like we just wanted to be in the know.
Right.
And quick little updates, all those things. So I say all that to say I really enjoy on the client side keeping those relationships fresh, constantly being in communication. But like what that means on set is you mentioned it earlier in another episode. I like to think I'm the guy that's no fun on set because like Garrett's pumped about hitting record
I'm a dreamer.
and capturing this. Justus really likes being the creative. And so
Right.
like when we shoot, say, a shot and get that done, we're like, okay, what next? Oh, we're going to do this. And I'm like, okay, great.
Or I'm here thinking, golly, this is going to look really good. And you're like, it might, but how are we going to get there
Yeah,
first?
how are we going to get there? Let's think about this edit, this finished product. We got to have a transition.
Right.
We can't just boom, boom, over. So
You're
like,
the
let's-
process guy.
I'm the not fun guy.
You're the
on
process
set.
guy. But you're also good at it. And again, it comes from your background. You were involved in a lot of different processes in
Yeah.
IT, which is why you're great at email. I'm
So-
horrible at email.
All of those things. I mean, that's what I like to do. And then too, like if we're strictly talking about capturing,
Mm-hmm.
if you put a photo camera in front of me and a video camera in front of me, and you say pick one to do today, I'm going to take the photography journey
Yeah,
10
you're a
times out
photo
of
guy
10.
first.
I love photography.
Right.
So if I could do anything within the business and only do a couple of things, those would be the things. Is I love client relations. I like being the person who thinks about the things that maybe a lot of people think are boring or don't think about on set. And I also just love taking photos.
Yeah.
So for us, in regards to growth, where do dreams and logic
Reality.
meet? Yeah.
Well, it's
I mean,
funny.
how do you do it? Because I think you need both.
You do have to have both. And really to answer this question and your previous question about does that change when you become a father, I think you do have to have an element of both. So before you're married or even after you're married, but before kids, there is that moment in time where you are trying so many different things.
Oh,
You and your new wife are like, we're going to get into this business. We're going to try that business. We're going to try to amplify and move up the ladder in our careers. And so you're amped about what you're building together. Introduce kids, and it changes because your dreams don't die. I never like when people say, well, when I had kids, my dreams died. I don't agree with that. I think at that point in time, your dreams have the ability to adapt in order to now provide for your extra household, your children. And what I mean by that is strictly from the dad perspective, whenever we had Cole, my whole mentality shifted from, oh my gosh, I need to make as much money as humanly possible and go blow all that money on XYZ whatevers.
Right.
It is now, no, what can I do for my son, my only son at the time? What can I do so that in his next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, he is not going to make the same mistakes that I did? Now, I can still have those dreams to provide the vehicle, but you think a little more generationally and you think a little more unselfishly in that sense. And even in today's world now, we're 3 kids, and me and Jared are still pretty fresh in building this business. We still have those dreams. Like individually, I still have the dream of shooting a feature film one day. But I know in the meantime, before I get there, I need to position the business.
Mm-hmm.
We need to position the business to where it still provides for those that are here right now.
Right.
I still have the dream in the back of my mind. It's still going to happen. But right now, I need to make sure that they make it to that point as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's good.
So like on set specifically, what do you prefer to do? What do you want to be doing? What are your passions in regards to video production?
In the future?
Yeah.
As
What do you
far
want to
as-
get to? Like once the business can sustain it and you can wear less hats
Yeah.
because that happens as you grow.
Yeah, I think moving forward, and it just takes a season of growing pains. I feel like, we're in a season right now in our business where I call it the awkward phase, where we are so busy because we are trying to do all of the things and still trying to generate new revenue and new business to where we can't take a step back just yet. So we are still doing, all the shooting, all the editing, all the communications, all of the things, the custodial services, as I call it.
All the hats.
All the hats. Eventually, my dream within the business is to build it to where we have those folks inside of our business to where I can do one of two things. I can solely be a DP, so be behind the camera.
Yep.
Or I can solely color, post-production wise. So that's my pre-production and my post-production goal. But even within the business, I want to be able to inspire and help build that next generation of creators.
Yeah.
So whether we bring on a college student who has never touched a camera before, maybe they have some experience through college, I want to be able to bring them on, give them the tools necessary, and as long as they have the drive and are teachable, trainable, coachable, can help take our business to the next level while growing them as well. I think that's something that I would love to leave to the industry.
I think part of growth is being able to identify bottlenecks. I have an answer as to what I think is probably our biggest bottleneck. Justus, you do a lot of the same things we do. So what would you say is your biggest bottleneck? Don't use the cliche of time, because that's obviously everybody's right. That's obviously everybody's bottleneck. But what is your idea of your biggest bottleneck in business?
I think it's got to be my systems.
Okay.
So structure and the systems I have in place, it's like you were saying, they fall apart quickly, so I'm now carrying everything.
Right.
But if I had systems in place and proper delegation, I could spread the load, in turn get more done, and be more efficient.
Well, and you can create experts. You can create experts within your system.
Yeah.
So what moving forward, even within your business, I know we've talked on our recent trip together, we talked about the shift that you would like to make with Not Just Media, to where you are taking on a little different role as far as the creative side of things, more like a creative agency. So what does that look like? What does present Justus have to do for the future of Not Just Media to achieve that? And what does that even look like? Like, what does a creative, for the people who are listening that don't understand our industry, what does a creative agency actually look like and do?
Yeah. So one of the things to develop those systems would be just delegate the things that let's just call it my expertise, isn't needed on.
Right.
So some of those core edits, some clients, they need some social media edits that aren't as complicated as some other higher level edits.
Right. True.
That should be delegated. Yeah. There's a large portion that my wife has helped me with when it comes to accounting and going through our finances of the business, and that is something that can be
stuff
delegated. So a lot of those things would be the first start. But then as for a creative agency, I think it's something that I by accident stepped into, and most of the business relationships I developed, the conversation we had, whether it's onboarding or throughout the relationship, whether it's retainer or a one-off client, our conversations usually led to figuring out different solutions for things that a media company maybe doesn't relate to.
I think that gets you jazzed, though.
It does.
Oh, it does. Oh, I love it.
You love the collaborative side of it.
And I'm so okay. This is something I always say all the time. I'm so okay with selling myself out of a job if it means a better solution for a client.
Right.
And so now I'm thinking, well, maybe I don't have to sell myself out of a job as the video guy, but maybe I start selling myself into jobs by assisting with these new creative decisions that, especially if I bring them up in the first place, where I say, hey, you don't need my cinema camera. Why don't you use your cell phone?
Right.
Right in the spot. And I think as
That's
guys
like
who love... Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're the solutions guy at that point in time. You're not just.
See,
there you
it's
go.
starting to catch on. You
A
say
video
solution
guy.
there.
Yeah, it flows very well.
I like that.
You are a solutions guy.
Right.
Which is what a
I'd
creative agency
I'd like to
is.
keep my solutions in the video marketing, brand building.
Right.
I'd like to keep it in that realm.
Right.
Because I do think a great solution is what we do. It's the reason why we do it, because
Absolutely.
we believe in it. We believe in brand pieces. What are the two that you guys always say? How do you guys word those?
Brand pieces
Brand
and
piece
testimonials.
and testimonials. I'm all for that. If you don't have something on your website that states who you are in video form, you're missing out.
Yeah, you are.
You need that
Today
piece.
you are missing out.
So I'm all for it. then beyond that, it's how are you getting your name out there? How are you sharing whether it's vulnerability through how you created your brand or business, or maybe it's a nonprofit that I think you guys have worked with someone recently that's people didn't even realize they were a nonprofit.
Right.
So how are you getting your mission out there to people creatively? There are all sorts of guerrilla concepts on how to market and advertise that people use all over. And I thought that was so common, but I think often once you're in the thick of it, probably like our businesses, once you're in the thick of it,
it seems common.
You don't think about those different techniques or different ways to do things.
If you're a new business building, you don't, because you're trying to do all of the things too.
Exactly.
Going back to Mr. Plumber, if you're trying to build your plumbing business, your main goal is to know how to plumb. Like you're not worried about marketing. You're not worried about content.
Probably may not be good at those things.
May not be good at them, and that's okay because that's where we all come in.
Yeah.
However, I think it goes back to a concept that we are huge believers in, thanks to Mark Bone. You just need help building your living room.
Yep.
That's all we are trying to help people do is build their living room. Build the living room for the new plumber. Build the living room for the nonprofit who nobody knows that they're a nonprofit. We want to help you build that living room, which is why you partner with folks like us.
Right.
Yeah.
Circling back to that initial question, though, we asked Justus what, and I have an answer as to what I think our biggest bottle, and we probably agree upon this, actually. I fully anticipate this to be the exact same answer, but what do you think right now is our biggest bottleneck to being able to take those next steps?
Mine and yours?
Yes.
Editing.
Bingo.
Which then prevents, well, like me specifically, I have a background in people-to-people sales. So I love that human communication. So that then helps that take a back seat. I go reach out to far less people in person because of our editing bottleneck.
I think that's common in our industry.
Right.
And Justice kind of touched on it. I think that's really common for like a first hire.
Oh, yeah.
Is an actual editor.
Yes.
And this is something that everyone understands when we show up on set and we actually get to conversing with them and we're talking about how things work in the back end of our process. They understand at that point. They're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like editing, that's a huge time consumer.
And we certainly try, and we are actively trying to find that person or those people.
Yeah.
Because it helps us be the solution for new and more businesses.
Well, I mean, so point blank, if we are having to always spend time in front of the computer editing, which is important because truly the project comes to life, and the edit is so important, which is why that's such a premium paying job in our industry today.
It's truly where the magic happens.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So if we're constantly in a cycle of shoot, edit, repeat, most of the time takes place. We talked about that in another episode. We referenced weddings, right? 8-hour package. You see us for 8 hours. That's the fun part. That's the part that you see us for. But then all of the work takes place in the edit. Yeah. That's where the hours quickly stack up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's all time that you can't be reaching out.
Right.
You love the in-persons.
I do.
That's time that you can't be reaching out to new clients. You can't be doing visits. You can't be on another production.
That's time that you can't be communicating through your medium, which is email.
So
doing those follow-ups.
Yeah. I think our biggest bottleneck and probably our next big step is locating a couple editors that we can either spread the load to part-time. Maybe that's a full-time editor. That is where I think we will see the most time savings and allow us to do those other things.
It will allow us to scale and be better servants to our clients. Would you agree, Justus, for your business, maybe it's not editors specifically, but just finding those key individuals, would that also help forward that vision of being a creative agency?
Yeah.
Like who would be your next hire as a creative agency?
Or is it even a hire, or is it just partnering and collaborating with, because that's something too. I mean, you don't have to be an employee.
Right. Well, I mean, we've partnered with third-party editors in the past.
Yeah.
They're not employees of Motion Creative.
We've done third-party editing.
We've done third-party editing. So we,
Yeah.
we understand that relationship. I do enjoy the thought of having someone in-house. It just makes communications and logistics a whole lot easier.
Yep.
But, I mean, for you, like, what does that partner / individual look like in your business?
Yeah, I think it would be. I think I'm in the same boat when it comes to an editor. That would be a huge weight off my shoulders.
Right.
But I also think there's a role, a organization person that
Okay.
just helps juggle
Yeah.
A PA.
clients. Yeah, I mean, just something that. I mean, that's a whole nother spectrum of how setting up gear on a shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a few stands and a few tripods and a few cameras and a few batteries and a few,
Oh,
like,
yes.
It kind of goes on.
Yep.
And it gets a little old and also adds time.
Yeah.
Well, it takes you away from doing the things you enjoy doing in your business. Directing, communicating, scripting, whatever, because you're too busy putting cameras on tripods.
Yeah.
So it gets deep. There's levels to it. We're
yeah.
in an industry where it truly does take a village to get a product.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it takes a little more investment than I've put in.
Yeah.
I've had a few different people work for me over the couple of years.
you have.
And if they don't work out, I take full responsibility because it's my lack of organization or
Right.
leadership to set them up for what they should do or what they
Right.
can do. And so I think that's something that I need to get better at is laying the groundwork down before I even bring someone in on all the things we're going to accomplish
Right.
and their tasks. And maybe it's just an overall job description and laying
Well,
that
or
all
just a
out.
system. Like you can't plug them into a system if a system doesn't exist.
Exactly. And I
You
think,
know?
yeah, that's actually a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Sure.
If I don't have a system, then I can't expect them to integrate into it.
Well, and, one of the previous industry that I was in, like we were very heavy about having systems to where I could take someone fresh out of school, another industry or whatever, and plug them into what we did. And typically within 30 to 60 days, if they were able to make it through training,
Right.
they were able to plug into the system. They didn't have
Yeah.
to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And that transcends no matter the industry. You have to have systems in place because most people can't develop them on the fly. I can't develop them on the fly. I was another one who plugged into that system.
Yep.
So you have to have those in place. Without the system, you can't expect somebody to come in and be a part of the system.
Yeah. They're going to get worn out,
Yes.
disgruntled maybe.
Yes.
I didn't mean to touch on this. Maybe this is a full episode in and of itself because it's kind of deep.
There's levels.
Delegation,
Yeah.
specifically in what we do, all three kind of mentioned editors. That's such a creative
Yeah.
thing.
It's like a baby.
It is easier
I
said
think
than done.
that's-
We're talking about it like we need to do it. We need
Oh,
to do
yeah.
it. But
We got to do this tomorrow.
That's
gotta-
really
it's hard to let go.
hard. Now,
It's tough.
I mean, you could hire an editor, and they take your project way further than the vision that you had.
Could take it to the next level.
It also could
Yeah.
be like, no, that's not what I had in mind.
We've had experience.
So then you have to rework it
Right.
or whatever, right? So like editing specifically as creatives, especially somebody like Justus who really enjoys the creative process,
Right.
that may be really hard to like let go of those reins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because truly, that's where the magic does happen. Until then, it's video files on an SD card or a hard drive.
And it's everybody hyping each other up about how great the product's going to be before you even ingest it into the computer.
That's where
love-
it really morphs.
I love getting thanked from a shoot.
Oh,
Like,
man.
a client, thank you. Like, you guys did incredible work.
Yes.
Thanks so much. And you're just like,
Oh, I appreciate that, but I'm like,
I
oh,
love
man.
it.
you haven't seen nothing.
You'll remember this from the video days with weddings. One of my favorite compliments in weddings, and it cracks me up, and I'm probably telling on myself here. The thing that we used to get the most on the wedding day when we were leaving was, "You guys were so great. You did not stop moving."
Oh, gosh.
Which means, I guess, from our inception, we were bound to be motion creative media because
I
we
th-
didn't quit moving.
I
What they didn't realize is we were copying the things that we were seeing on YouTube from our heroes who are constantly whip panning and doing all these transitions. And it's like, sweetheart, I'm just running laps right now. I'm trying to let you know that I'm working hard.
Speaking of growth, though,
I'm working
running
hard.
laps.
speaking of growth, thank the Lord, gone are the days that we feel as though every shot has to have
Has to
camera
move.
movement. When we started out, we spent the entire day on glide cams.
Oh, we were just moving.
Yeah.
Just moving.
because we thought,
Oh, we
get
were
it.
moving.
this camera needs to be moving to make this shot
Yeah.
dynamic and exciting.
Now, it got us to a place, and I feel like some of our earlier wedding pieces were good wedding pieces. However, that does not mean that we needed to run 5 miles a day to get there. We probably could have saved some energy.
I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been in an edit and under my breath cussed one another. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
stop
Oh, yeah.
moving.
Yep.
I
For
would-
3 seconds, just be still.
Just be still. Hold what you had. The shot was
3
beautiful.
seconds.
And there's movement in the frame. The camera doesn't have to move.
I have a horrible case of, that kind of ninja sway. And
Oh,
this
yeah.
isn't the full move, but it's just to add
That's
that
okay.
little. So you sway in one direction.
Oh, but it's
my
dynamic.
My thing is, I sway back the other direction.
Yeah.
Which ruins it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
use a shot that's going
Not
right to
consecutively.
left and then goes left to right.
Right.
But why
you
do
do
I
it.
do that?
We all do it. It's a habit because it makes it more dynamic. I think maturing is realizing.
Part of growth.
It's part of growth, but to quote one of my heroes, Mr. Deakins himself, you need to have a dang good reason for that camera to move.
Dang, called out.
You need to have a good reason to move that camera.
Going for a waffle.
Because if not, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
But yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know if we made a bit of sense today.
I don't know. We made a waffle.
We did.
I don't know if we made sense, but we made a waffle.
We did make a
Justus
waffle.
made
That's
a
true.
waffle.
Yeah.
I think we unpacked a lot, but I really think there are future episodes there. Gosh, there are some deep topics we could get into.
I would like to go into the delegation topic because I think between me and you, at least, that is a topic that we talk about quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out, as a growing business, how, when, who, what, and where
Oh, yeah.
to delegate.
Right. Absolutely.
But for our viewers out there, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to encourage you guys, if you are gaining any value from this episode, from this podcast.
Yes.
Jared, they do have a couple of things they can do to help the podcast out.
Yeah. So, you hear everybody say like and subscribe on YouTube. Those may be buzzwords to you if you don't maybe understand. You may think they're just like begging for clout or anything like that. That's not the case. No different than we would really like for you guys to weigh in, both positively and negatively. Just be honest. Reviews. I know the Apple Podcast app allows you to actually type in reviews, no different than Amazon would, but you
Right.
can also star, so you can give star ratings.
Stars and bars.
Yeah, Garrett likes to say stars and bars. Those mean so much because going back to my IT days, I can't fix a problem that doesn't exist.
Right.
So if you have negative feedback,
That's okay.
yeah,
That's okay.
that's something that we can hear and hopefully correct and right the ship, so to speak.
You are
moving
not going to
forward.
hurt my feelings.
Not going to hurt my feelings, but yeah, seriously, weigh in, give us reviews, give us some sort of ratings. All of those things mean so much.
They make a difference, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you for being willing to come back, Mr. Justice.
Yeah,
And not just
thanks
me.
for
Little
having me
claps.
back,
We'll go
guys.
little claps for that. We'll go little claps.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me back.
I
Yeah,
can't wait for you
absolutely.
to come back and next time make a full-on filet mignon with 3 sides, maybe an appetizer.
Okay.
How about that?
Cooking with Justice.
We'll bring in the George Foreman next time.
George? Just don't
Oh,
burn
George.
just don't burn your feet because you want to wake up to the smell of bacon.
Mm.
You might catch that reference. Come on, guys. It's from
I'm
The
blanking.
Office. Michael Scott
missed
burnt
it.
his foot on his George. Oh my gosh.
I missed it. I'm blanking. And here comes the hard part, guys. We are to the end of Faith and Frames. Thank you for being a part of this podcast and listening, watching, whatever you're doing on whatever platform. Thank you. Jared, here's the hard part. You start us off.
I'm just going to say it. We'll see you later, boys.
There it was. Y'all have a
Goodbye.
good one.
See you
bye.
later. Deuces.